2017, and I met with the Defence Force personnel from Australia and from many other countries operating there. But I also got to meet with the interpreters and other Afghans who are helping the Australian and other forces operating in Afghanistan. I got to meet with them and understand the risk that they put themselves at by helping Australian and other forces. And so, of course, we owe an obligation to them to help them now. As we watch what is happening there, as we watch what is happening across the country of Afghanistan, we cannot forget our obligation to help those who helped us.
Not life name.
The Australian government must act, along with other nations that have been active in Afghanistan, to save the people of Afghanistan that have helped them and helped us. After 20 years of active engagement, we must provide the humanitarian assistance for those that will now be targeted by the Taliban because of their ethnic background, their religion, their gender, their education, or because of their assistance to Australia and other nations working there. For many months, veterans, former Prime Ministers and Labor have been calling for urgent action from the Morrison government to fulfil Australia's moral obligation to the Afghans that have risked everything to help us on our mission. Report after report has confirmed the threat that these people would be under. We've been concerned for months by the delay in the government taking action, but instead all we have seen is too little, too late to help all of those that have supported our mission and their families in getting to safety. As with too many things, Scott Morrison has done too little, too late when it comes to helping those in Afghanistan. He's failed to admit that Australia will not be able to help all of those Afghans that helped us. The government's response of only 3,000 visas seems piecemeal. Australia did not use its full refugee quota last year. We have 13,000 places available every year. Mr Morrison needs to take responsibility for not acting sooner to help those that have helped us in Afghanistan. Visa processing for partners, for families of Australian citizens and those that have helped us also need to be prioritised. They've already waited too long. It's been taking too long and now it is getting too late because of this Morrison government's inaction. The government has a responsibility to help these people. The idea that there's something temporary about the situation is completely wrong. People who are here now need to have certainty and they need to have support for their families back home, especially those members of the Hazara community who are going to be so targeted by the Taliban now. As I said, Australia has a moral obligation to assist those that helped us and their families. We have international obligations to assist the persecuted groups in Afghanistan. We have the capacity and ability to act, and we should. Labor supports every effort by the government to help everyone, and there's still more that should be done, and we hope that the government will do more. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for your support, and thank you, Labor, for your support. At this stage, I would like to welcome Senator Jordan Steele from the Australian Greens Party. Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are, of course, a meeting on First Nations land. It is a privilege and an honour to have been invited to be part of this peaceful gathering as we gather in support and solidarity of Afghanistan, its people, in this time of great crisis. It must be recognised by every single MP in Australia at all levels of government that what is happening right now in Afghanistan is a humanitarian crisis of the most serious nature. There are war crimes being committed right now, and our government must act to offer people protection and support. The Australian Greens fully support the community's demand for 20,000 additional humanitarian visas to be issued. that must happen, and it must happen now. In addition, all those currently here on temporary protection visas must be offered permanent support in Australia. And every Afghan within the Australian detention system should be immediately released and offered permanent protection here in Australia. We must do this, but we must do more also. We must ensure that those on the ground in Afghanistan, in Kabul, are evacuated to safety. We must ensure that there is humanitarian support for those displaced within Afghanistan, and we must make sure that Australia uses its position in the international community to ensure that any government that forms in Afghanistan upholds the rights of Afghan women, upholds the human rights of girls and children, and upholds the rights of all ethnic communities, whether they be Hazara, Pashtun, Turkic or Uzbek. All must be respected and supported in Afghanistan. The Greens are proud to be alongside you in this moment. We know that there is great pain in the community. We know that there is great fear and great sorrow. We know also that there is great determination and resilience and resistance. We will continue to work tirelessly to ensure that the Australian government supports the people of Afghanistan and meets its obligations to all those of the nation of Afghanistan. Whether they supported forces in Afghanistan or not should not be a measure. There must be support for those that supported the ADF, but there must also be support for all those in need in this moment of crisis. There must be urgent action. Urgent action. I and the Greens look forward to continuing to work with the community, to be guided by the community, to support the community in this moment as we move forward. I want to thank the organisers, everybody who put this incredible gathering together, and I want to commit myself to continuing to work with you to see peace and justice achieved in Afghanistan and to support Afghans here in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Joran. Thank you for sharing your kind words and solidarity with Afghans. Thank you for standing alongside us. And thanks for your support. I now would like to welcome Suresh Rajan, the President of the Ethnic Communities Council of Western Australia. As the Afghan community, we are grateful for the immediate support we received from your organization. Please help me to welcome Suresh.
Let me start by acknowledging the prior ownership of the land on which we gather. We're on the lands of the Wajib people of the Noongar Nation, and we thank them for their use of their land today, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. It was only 2 days ago that 40 academics in Afghanistan, who are actually graduates of Australian universities but are now resident there, wrote publicly of their abject fear of their lives in Kabul. With the Taliban having taken control there, they have actually written and started a campaign that is targeting these academics who are current and former government officials and family members for summary execution and destruction of their homes and other property. The videos of civilians being publicly stoned and of government soldiers handing over their weapons are circulating very much online. When Home Affairs were advised of this, the response from them was predictably useless. And it was to say that Australia's offshore humanitarian program was designed primarily to assist those who had left their home country, etc., and went back to the usual rhetoric of Australia being swarmed by refugees, by boat, etc. The time for that is well and truly past. We're now calling on the Prime Minister to immediately introduce, as a number of people have said today, that we are asking for an increase in the number of places dedicated to Afghanistan of a minimum of 20,000 people of Afghan heritage. Canada has already committed to 20,000, and at the present time, our PM is indicating that we're prepared to take on 3,000. Even Prime Minister Abbott, in his time, had agreed to take on 12,000 Syrian refugees. This humanitarian crisis is every bit as big as the Syrian crisis and much more urgent that we need to do something. We're not about to meet any of our immigration targets in this country due to the pandemic.